Three, two, one, zero.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this extremely exciting. I'm so excited right now. I can't even hardly stand this. So, y'all been watching me for a minute. Spirituality gone wild, Cuppa Grata with a shot of expression into squirts of reality. Well, I am so excited about this upgrade and the person who is going to be on our very first show for this upgrade. This upgrade is all about gratitude EQ. What is that, do you ask? That is emotional intelligence wrapped all in a pretty little bow of gratitude. It's absolutely the secret sauce to up leveling your life. And this is the playground. This is what we're going to do. We're going to play because the fact is, we're all taking this healing stuff just a tad bit too seriously. Do you not think? And we really are going to take a deep dive into what does healing look like? What do we need to do to continue to have a life that's full of limitless possibilities? I have somebody who's coming on today. Her name is Michele Garcia. She's the owner and founder of Cielo Sober Living. She has her master's degree as a spiritual psychologist. She is one of the best sound healers I have ever experienced. And by the way, she also has her sound healing live right here on YouTube and Facebook I believe it is Tuesdays. So the fact is that we're getting ready to meet one of the most fabulous women I've ever known. And I'm going to bring her up right now. Welcome, everybody, please, Michele Garcia.
Hi. What a
Hey,
beautiful
girl.
intro. My goodness. Wow. Thank you, Debbie. You're awesome. What a beautiful intention you have with this show, too. I'm so honored to be your first guest on this upgrade. That's exciting.
You're my very first. The thing is I want everybody to understand who Michele is. And we can always talk about someone's bio, but I'd like to really just take a moment, everybody, and just as you're joining, share this out and let's take a drop into our heart. You see, I've been to Michele's house and we've been out and we talk all the time. And what I know is that this is a woman that not only walks her talk, but deeply, deeply sits within herself about how can she be a service to others in humanity. That's who Michele is. Michele is the person that's going to be there for the people that nobody else wants to be there for. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, if you can match that, you're doing something right in this world. Okay. So all of these things I've witnessed, seen firsthand for myself. So I want to just do some deep compersion diving. That's celebration of Michele and Cielo Sober Living, and for all the people that you have before you now and that will come after, who you will touch with your heart. So thank you.
My goodness. Thank you. That's I'm honored. I'm honored to be spoke of in that light. And
You got my heart, baby girl. I love you.
you know what they say, if you can see it in someone, then you've got it too. And so yeah, super reciprocal. You're definitely a light worker. Thank you, Debbie, for having me.
Love it. So we're going to take a deep dive. We're going to talk about Michele Garcia. We're going to talk about some of your journey, not a ton, because I really want to get into some of the modalities that you do.
Okay.
Everybody's had trauma. Everybody's had stuff. Nobody is special in that regard, but everybody is unique in how that they want to take and embrace that opportunity or that journey of their life. And you've really had some you've done what I've done. You've like scraped your ass on the bottom of the frickin' gravel of the road from a moving car, basically. I don't know how else to explain it, but in life, when you hit it that hard, let's talk about what that looked like.
So you mean like my bottom, like different? I feel like there's been series.
How many have we had?
Surrenders, right? It can be ongoing.
Yeah.
You complete surrender, and we think, wow, like to the depth of experience this, emerging out of whatever place we were at, where we're evolving in our spiritual curriculum, and then there's more, and there's always more. I think we're at just like we are ever evolving. I think I can tell you that like initially when I hit a bottom, it had a lot to do with me self-medicating with drugs and alcohol. And that was back in 1991. And I'm thankful I reached out to communicate about what was going on for myself with a relative, my uncle specifically. So we were close, and he was always someone I could talk to, and he was unconditionally loving, and that helps. I really work to embody that the best I can with everything that I am, because that really is the agent that allows people to have a voice when they're in fear, have a voice when they're, not comfortable with where they're at. And that's real important, because, to be able to hear yourself and then, find your own answers. And for me, having that conversation with my uncle and just being well received with, his capacity to come in with his partner and come to Venice Beach and literally like pull me out of that situation, take me into his home in his heart, give me a job at his little boutique. He had a couple clothing stores on Santa Monica Boulevard in West Hollywood at that time. And, I was able to discern that he was happy. And I remember asking him, like, how did you get to be so happy? Because at that point, I was restless, irritable, and discontent because I was just not using, which is kind of just very dry. No spiritual program of action, no healing, had just completely stopped everything. And all I knew was I was uncomfortable in my skin. And I just saw something that was attractive. And,
Yeah.
thank God for that, because he was such a light beam of surprise. I honestly no way thought I'd hear what I did, which is that he was sober and he was in AA, and that there was a meeting going on right above the store from where we were in. And literally like the staircase wrapped up and around and about. And he was like, and it's noon. Why don't you go and check it out? I can watch the store. And I was just like, okay. So I'll never forget that day. And definitely is a game changer for me. That was kind of the real start of something different with, so all starts with a conversation and, people being honest about what's worked for them, and then going up to be curious and learn. And thank God there was someone in the room that was sharing in the meeting that talked about having, a spiritual malady coupled a mental obsession. He started with like, we think about it and think about it until we do it. And whatever that is, like we obsessive, like thinking. And then we physically ingest things and want more. One is too many, 1,000's never enough. And so the allergy aspect of it, right? And so the mind tells the body responds, and then we do things that hurt our spirit. I'm thankful I heard it in just that way, like that threefold description of what is alcoholism. I had some prejudice around the word alcoholism, and because of my personal experience growing up, and I didn't want to be that, and I didn't want to be that, and whatever. It's like you can't escape things for fear of, or just because you just don't want to wasn't enough. So I'm thankful I heard that, because it spoke to me. I was like, wow, I really get that, the spiritual malady. Okay. So then they expressed there's a solution and it works. And then they talked about it, and it did actually sound tangible. And, and it was, and it is. And it's even though, Debbie, I've gone to school and get a master's and done all these neat educationals, and I continue to do workshops and different kind of, conferences that are super experiential, like conscious recovery. I know like the foundation of all of my spiritual living started with AA, and the 12 steps
I love that. But
the premise. So
yeah. I'm curious though, because what I hear is that love really pulled you out, like that unconditional love. And there's no shame in that, And when people are in their space of self-dedicating, the shame they feel just from their self-deprivation alone is huge. So just having people love into who you were in that moment and meet you, no matter where it was that sounded like it was pretty pinnacle. And then to walk into that meeting, that rocked. But the fact is what I know is once you removed
I remember feeling, Debbie, desperate, lonely, afraid,
Mm, yeah.
unmanageability with my roommate, you know,
Yeah.
roommate was using, and she had a ring that was special to me. My dad gave me. It was an emerald ring from Colombia, and I was so upset about it. And just like
Oh,
those kinds of unmanageability happenings, I was just so
yeah.
sick and tired of it all. Right? Like I wanted a new life. I wanted to be
It
happy.
wasn't
I
fun
wanted to feel
anymore.
good about myself. I really embodied that growing up. Like pretty much most of the time, to thank God.
Well, I think that there's a few technical difficulties. So, what Michelle's talking about here is so powerful and so big for all of us. And that is that we all hit a space in our life that we consider to be really low. We beat the crud out of ourselves because of where we're at. And if you have other people in your life that are also doing that, it just doesn't make for much fun. So I love what she's brought up about how love is bringing her to, it brought her to that space, and then finding community in AA, and she's going to continue on from there. This is a really great story, and I'm imagining that there's those of you right now who need to be hearing this. So I'm going to encourage you to just take a deep breath and don't shame yourself for wherever you're at, and listen to what Michele has to say about all of this beauty. Hi, love.
Hi.
Did your internet definitely seems to be chopping. I don't know why. So, I love, though, the fact is that you found deep community. Oh no, we just did it again. I'm going to play Michelle's commercial. We're going to take a quick commercial break is what we're going to do. We're going to come right back with Michele Garcia from Cielo Sober Living.
Welcome to Cielo Sober Living, a spiritual haven in Coachella Valley, featuring 12-step work, sound bath meditation, conscious recovery meetings, and other holistic practices to build a strong foundation. Michele Garcia brings value to the program with a holistic approach. She guides and supports residents with care and dedication. Meals are provided, and dinner is shared together each night. Experience a safe and nurturing environment that fosters growth and healing. To learn more about our transformative offerings at cielosoberliving.com or call 877-394-8355.
Thank you all so much for being here. Michelle's just working out some technical difficulties. So here we are elevating minds, and here she is back, and we're expanding hearts. And through community, we're able to do all of those things. She'll be right here. In life, you got to go with the flow, right? And if it hits the fan, you just go with the flow, however that works. Because there's my gorgeous girl. It is what it is. I'm going to bring us.
My phone works better than my iPad, apparently.
Okay, well, actually, you look fantastic. We're up close.
Thank you. All right,
so drop back into that. Let's drop back into our hearts really quickly. Just take a deep breath. Because, Michele, there's people out there right now, the minute that they hear where you were, they're there, and they don't know how to pull themselves up and out of it very well. And the excuse making that people make, what happens when you make that choice? What was it? Because I've been there. You just know that you never again, ever again want to feel like that, be like that. I looked in the mirror and at myself and said, I don't like who you are at all. At all.
I hear you.
Yeah. So this journey of discovering to love ourselves, you did it through community, which started with AA. And now, but healing's it's not simplistic. It's not even a straight and narrow road, but the fact is that it's kind of fun too, so I also want to talk about that. What was fun about AA when you got into it that was different from the life you had before?
Everything. I mean, people were happy, and people were, especially like I was in my 20s, right? So there was a lot of young people's meetings. I went to late night meetings in Hollywood. There were dances. There were conventions I always go to that felt really good. The unity that's expressed in those is phenomenal. And just a sense of belonging and common common solution. I love
Yeah.
sharing and solutions that work that can be shared with others, and and that love transcends. I mean, there's a lot of joy in living and doing anything, when you like embody joyfulness, which essentially means God within. Joy, like I express joy as God within brimming out. So it just
Can we
ripple
just
effects.
let's get somebody to type that in the chat. Say it one more time. Let's get that captured.
Okay. Is it better if I turn this way? Like
No, you're
that?
good. You're 100%. Yeah, yeah, she's totally good, right? But I want you to just that's life right there. We just turn ourselves upside down, right side up. This is like, woo, this is what we do. We're just you.
I mean, I'm
Oh,
not, this is like,
you look, yeah.
I
Way to go.
podcast is kind of a new thing for me. So
You know what? Like
I
I'm
hope
just you're doing
it helps.
freaking phenomenal. Hey, okay, so say that again.
Oh, you're talking about the joy. Okay. So joy is essentially is God within brimming out.
Joy is
So
God
joy
within,
is
brimming
God
out.
within brimming out.
That is
So
beautiful.
yeah, you know, feelings, they come and go. They have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I always seem to be in a place where I'm reminding my clients and people I've mentored about that, because we get so caught in our feelings, and we think that bad feeling or that uncomfortable feeling is going to be forever for some reason, and we forget that nothing is permanent except the love of God. That, like, things are just like fluid, and it has that beginning, middle, and an end to it, and even the good ones, right? So we just
Yes.
want, also why, like, I embrace the good ones, because it's life is a flux. It's like ongoing, and like, again, the only thing that's permanent is the love of God. And I love, there's a quote that relates to that. Amma, she's a hugging saint. I just love her. I went to see her, and I received a hug, and I remember her emanating that divine mother's love, and just crying and laughing literally at the same time, and just being like, wow. I was in step 11 in AA, and I was to seek God in however many ways, right? So that's what came up for me in that experience. And that's actually where I got my first meditation mantra in Sanskrit, that was taught to me, and a ritual taught to me by one of her devotees, on how to utilize it. And then I practiced it, and I got off all my psych meds at that time, which I had the gut feeling I was ready to release. And it was so helpful. It really, I believe meditation to be very good to strengthen your mind and allow you to be strong in mind. In your mind, everything starts in the mind. Alcoholism, even, it centers in our mind. If
Yes.
we can strengthen the mind, we strengthen the body, the whole aspect, all the aspects of our being, body, mind, soul. So we're just like light beams, and this light gets enlarged as we enlarge our spiritual fit condition. And that's just kind of that's how I see it. And I was like, Amma has this gorgeous quote. She says, love is the foundation of the universe. Love sustains everything. And that just really speaks to me. It's so beautiful. It's like,
Oh,
that kind of divine mother love, or like, that unconditional love we speak about, like that. We all have the capacity. We all born with that. I think that's our natural state. It's only fear that kind of, and some are healthy fears, but all fear, like fear didn't keep me sober, will not keep me sober, didn't get me sober. I mean, it's initially, it created a conversation that allowed me to move past those fear. And I continue to work through them because they come up all the time. I mean, that's, but the more that I can work through them, the more I have enlarged my divine loving. And when I do that, I feel like, nothing's impossible, that we can, unlimited, possibilities. Just go ahead, and like, my parents are big advocates of, like, you could be anything you want in this life. Such a strong message. And it's so cool to be in a position when we're empowered to do just that, to just like think about, meditate, what would I like to do with this life, and then go for it. I mean, the whole second semester of spiritual psychology, the school I went through, is centered around what our purpose is. First semester is about, who am I? And of course, we're learning all these amazing modalities of therapy. And like in that doing, we're getting clearer, because the clearer we are, the more capacity we have to help others, because we're all mirrors, right? It's just like
Correct.
allowing people to really be able to grow and learn from each other. And the more that we can do that, or other people can do that, it's a ripple effect. So again, second semester, what is my purpose? I feel like once you know who you are, you have a good sense of, you're knowing yourself and feeling comfortable in your skin. You can then really be clear on what's next. What would I like to do with this energy of life of mine? What do I want to put out there? What might I like to share? And it just comes, and I love listening for the answers. That's meditation.
Yep. So that's what I'm hearing is that, so because a lot of people are like, okay, so I need community. I need people who authentically and vulnerably show up for me. How can I have, you have to show up authentically and vulnerable for yourself, because what I hear a lot of is the reason somebody can't do something. So I'm here because we're using emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence is a we factor. It takes more than one person, and fear didn't stop you from getting where you were, because fear is actually the place. I mean, fear, you're right. There is healthy fear. Then there's the fear that keeps us stuck in these old belief systems that are no longer serving us. Through meditation, what I'm hearing you say is that you're able to deeper connect with the God within, with yourself within. And people, listen, if you can't meditate by sitting and saying Om, then get your butt up and do some freaking ironing or some shit. Just go do, David Strickle from Taya, David talks about this a lot. Low thought activities. Me, I have to move my body, because
I hear you.
You know what I'm saying? But Michelle, she's like she's the queen of this stuff, though. I mean, Michelle does her practices. She does hot yoga, probably because she's just hot yoga.
You're funny.
No, I'm not. I'm being real about this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like the heat. That's great.
Here's why. You know what? When it comes down to it, the goddess within, the expansion of who you are and your divine masculine and feminine, the balance that you've brought forward, it's about all things that you've embodied. And what I want people to hear is when Michelle's saying that you might want to start with some meditation, you might want to take it seriously. Is that coming from somebody who's not doing it? You see, because everybody looks at somebody else and says, well, how did they get there? Rather than looking at them and thinking, how did they get there? But she's telling you how to get there. How you get there is within, not without. You got to go without to get within, though, right?
Yes. I like what you're touching on. One of the most wise things a mentor told me once that I really keep with me, and I want to share with you right now, is that life is a moving meditation. So, even though, like, however you want to integrate a ritual, be it like sound baths, which I love to facilitate, or, there's so many different various ways you can, tap into a ritual of practicing your meditation starting in the morning and then carry it through our day. So I often loved hiking in Malibu and the canyons and just being in the moment of the now. Like the practicing of being in that moment is a moving meditation, just being present to now. Like mindfulness is another word people use to be in the moment of now. So, doing two things at once, not so great. It keeps us just not really 100%. We want to be 100% as much as possible. And that way you get the most out of everything. And relationships are so vital, right? I mean, they are the lifeline of how we learn and grow. So when we create relationships that have meaning and depth, I believe the magic ingredient is that capacity to really be present for them, to be aware, to integrate all these spiritual principles that we gain from the practice of prayer and meditation, and or whatever tools you're getting from perhaps 12-step, perhaps conscious recovery, and all the different beautiful ways that there are out there. Breath work. There's so many great things that can enhance your capacity to tap into remembering to be in alignment with spiritual principles, ones that serve you. And yes, Debbie, fun, having fun, joy
Yeah.
and well-being
Yeah.
is one of the, which makes holistic well-being. So, I mean, look, I didn't get sober to not have fun. When I was young, it was so great that there were so many ways, and that I continue to throw events, parties, festivals. I did the nonprofit business that I started simply because I wanted to create more community and capacity for people to, enjoy life, to eat dinners together and talk about what are they doing and get excited about what they can share to help each other grow in any and all ways possible to better life for others. Because I mean, it just feels good. I mean,
It just feels good to be of service. Just feels good. But
Mhm.
what I heard you saying is that in relationship and in connection, it's the idea of what is real for another human being. It is being able to be present, as you said, and pull that space within you. And when somebody's hurting, say, "How can I hold your heart?"
Mm.
When we've heard another, how can I show up for your heart? I apologize that happened. We don't need to tell people that we're feeling sorry for their ass. We need to look at them and say, "How can I hold your heart? I know that shit fucking hurts."
Mhm.
And this is kind of that what you're talking about is I'm so passionate about this. Just like when you were in your second semester and you're learning about purpose, it's this purpose to give people permission. Do you all realize that, like, you're so good where you're at, but you might need to make some damn changes to get where you want to go? So stop doing what you're doing that's not allowing you to have that happen for you. And Michelle's giving you some great guidance and tools in order to do this. And I also want to just mention Cielo Sober Living again, because I just want to play this one more time, even though we did a few moments ago, but I want to do it again. I want to show you what's possible when you start taking the chance on yourself again.
Welcome to Cielo Sober Living, a spiritual haven in Coachella Valley, featuring 12-step work, sound bath meditation, conscious recovery meetings, and other holistic practices to build a strong foundation. Michele Garcia brings value to the program with a holistic approach. She guides and supports residents with care and dedication. Meals are provided, and dinner is shared together each night. Experience a safe and nurturing environment that fosters growth and healing. To learn more about our transformative offerings at cielosoberliving.com or call 877-394-8355.
That's what's possible.
That's fun. That was a commercial. Channel 3 did that commercial for me.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so fun.
Thank you, Channel 3. But this is like, did you all check that out? If you watch the replay, just go back a little bit. What is possible for myself? This is a question we ask. What is it? And how do I get it? One small, little, itty bitty thing at a time. We've shared meditation practices. Y'all can look on YouTube. You can look anywhere. You can tune into Michele with sound healing for meditation on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right? Thursday?
Yeah, you're
I said
right.
Tuesday earlier.
Just last night. Yes.
Just last night.
Thursday at
Thursday.
7, every Thursday. But I also do them for events and treatment centers, staff, and big festivals like One Love. And it's fun. I wanted to add to that, I don't know what is just coming forward to me,
Yeah.
that irrational emotive therapy, one of the modalities I'm trained in, it
Ooh.
speaks to talking about some of the ideas that don't work for us, and then coming up with like new ideas that could work for us and action steps that support that. So moving into like 3 perhaps small, tangible, attainable actions that you can write down and then work toward achieving those through the week. And then you get closer to, you know, really living in a more rational and more idealistic for you, whatever works for you. And then, you can work with your therapist or your guide or your mentor, what it be, or your guru, on and evolving in that kind of a way. It's a more cognitive approach, and it can be really helpful for those that just need to see it on paper. And some of the magic that happens is always like beyond the scope of what you can even imagine. Of course, we know that.
Absolutely.
Expect the unexpected. I'm a big proponent of that. But at the
Yeah.
same token, doing the footwork to, manifest means setting, working toward what you might like to see yourself do that's different than maybe what you're doing now. So growth comes from change. If I change some things and I practice new behaviors, I experience new things, and then I can talk about them and see what's working and what I might like to, tweak a little, change, shift. The shift happens. It's pretty amazing when it does.
Well, I love all of this because it's really about some deep self-aware work, and so when I'm looking at my goals, Michele, I look at them and I'm going to tell you this has came up. And so I have a trick I do with them. It's funny that you even brought this up right now, because I just had this conversation last night and today about goal work, about how I need to be setting my goals. I had my therapist appointment this morning. Goal work is important. Everything you're talking about, like literally in 3 has came up to me. Okay, Spirit, I hear you. Okay, fine.
Love 3.
Right?
Magic number.
So I'm going to make the list. And then on the right side, I write the reasons I can't do it, because I always have reasons I can't do it. And then on the left side, I write the one small thing I can do today that I can actually do. Regardless of what my right side's saying, my left side's like, devil on the right, angel on the left.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, think about, and then I want to just add one more, that we charge each other with friendship, with connection, and with our hearts, because Michele, this is Michelle's in my life as one of the people that we empower each other to be the best versions of ourselves we can be. And we have honesty, transparency, vulnerability, and all those things that come into play with good relationship and connection. You have respect. There's mutual everything you could have. There's deep love.
Thank you for speaking that into existence. And I 100% feel that way about our relationship as well. And I treasure it.
I treasure you. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. You want people in your life you treasure. Because everybody you should treasure, but some of the treasure could be spent by somebody else better. And maybe let's review what treasures that we have, and how can we love into them better, and how can we expand our hearts to take the person who's the treasure and help them lift them to their highest, their greatest, their best. And that, Michele, you do it every day. You do it with the people that are right now currently. Oh, well, this is something she does all the time. She has people that are getting they're working on their mental health. Period.
There is that. And I think, look, so it's physical, spiritual, cognitive, it's emotional,
Yes.
and then there's joy and well-being.
Yes.
So I would say, if you wanted to do like an emotional exercise for growth, I would take all those aspects of our being, and I would write it out, and I would write 3 things maybe to support. That's a nurturing project. 3 things that you could do to support each of those areas of your life for balance. So if we do too much spiritual, and we don't take care of our emotional or physical or joy and well-being, we're not going to be balanced. And it's really important to be balanced. I'm a big proponent of balance. I mean, that's what I love about yoga. That's what I love about life, is being in balance. It's a constant working process, but I think that's a good little tool, if I can, extend that to anyone, I learned that in spiritual psychology. We used to do those projects all the time, and then, and I knew them when we would, complete that, and then make a new, area that we want to apply it to. And it works. It's really nice.
Well, I really love this one, because you see, you can take and put, because you're putting it, why are we putting it back on paper again?
Visual, like, just to be tangible so we can see things,
That's why you all need to do it.
I like to track things and see, my growth. That's a lot, and when we do a 4-step inventory in AA, it's the same thing. You write it out so you can see it, and you can share it. You can look back on it later. Did it cause any harms? Do I need to make it right? How can I make it right? What could I do better next time? Later in 11 step.
I love that. Let's talk about grace, because whenever
Yes.
giving ourselves grace. We've all done some stuff. I'm almost 57. I've had a life.
Mhm.
Now it's like, what kind of grace can we offer ourselves in this expansion of our heart, regardless of, oops, did I do that? Urkel it with no, no excuses. Just simply, yeah, I did that. Why? Because I probably had an unmet need and need to be loved. And I don't know how to do that. What do I need to do to get that deepest part of me met? That's not being met, that I'm using this thing or that or da da da, anything outside of myself in order to get met. So the deeper question is always, what isn't feeling good, being met? What is this meeting? Is it serving? What grace can I give myself from choosing some stupid shit? Well, it's not that I'm stupid, but the shit that I chose was stupid. To try to freaking
Um,
I'm gonna fill my need with a whole bunch of shit and then wonder why my life sucks. No.
Debbie, really, no, it's good that you're exploring these thoughts. Like I can't tell you how much I love, to embody grace. I feel what I've learned from it is that that's as much as I can embody like godliness, my goodness in me. Like when I'm
Yeah.
in alignment with God's grace, um, I can embody the grace of that, which is,
Yes.
beautiful. And I can remember the first time I was inspired to it was my great grand sponsor. I just loved the way that she walked with grace and moved with grace and spoke with grace. And I had this opportunity with spiritual psychology to write out a positive affirmation, and we got to build it on which qualities, two or three at the most, right? Because it's more important to, than a litany of different ones, right? Because it's easier to attain, right?
Small, simple, digestible.
So we would write it at the top of all of our projects, and mine was, something at that time, I incorporated grace, so uh I am, living in compassionate, loving, experiencing the grace within me move through life, right? So
Mhm.
that would be like a way to say it. And then I would, really be able to experience the growth that comes around really focusing on maybe those spiritual principles, right? And it works, I mean, it did for me, and it definitely helped me, like be mindful that that's something that, I'm growing toward, and be able to live more in alignment with that, other than like being so abrasive, or being, I can be athletic and kind of just really, just kind of clunk clunk clunk, but like it's softer and nicer to be able to and not to say I love being athletic. I'm just saying, like, I can be abrasive, and I'd rather be graceful, because I just,
Yeah.
it's more, you know what the thing is, if you notice, we just like notice things we like about us, and then I know that if I can emulate that, then I'm going to get that back. So what I give, I receive. So if I want to experience more of that, I'm gonna work to be that, right? So if I like
So
kindness, which is one of my most favorite of all spiritual principles, I'm gonna do random acts of kindness. So for example, that same grand sponsor I was talking to you about, one of the tools or exercises she gave me to do is call 3 people, ask them about their day, say nothing about me, unless they asked. So it was a very selfless act, and that helped me a lot.
wow. That's
Because yeah.
gratitude. Oh, that's gratitude EQ. It's called the law of reciprocity. Law of reciprocity is that. And
Mhm.
that's what you're practicing. That beautiful flow, that synchronicity, that serendipitous
Mhm.
part of life where you're just allowing those pieces of you to flow through into another. The law of reciprocity, and how it comes back is because that is a law of the universe. It's just how it is.
Mhm.
So what we're
Mhm.
putting out there in the sense of our heart, expect it to be coming back because of our heart magnifies out, and where two or more are gathered, we make it so. And within the aspect of knowing that you are worthy and deserving, and talking about how you're doing this emotional work, and I am the embodiment of love and divine grace and divine beauty and the gracefulness of the goddess, the gracefulness of the angelic beingness within us, and all of those things, but the fact is that it's true. Our entire beingness, and now we'll take a little shift over into the more somatic, more movement, more feeling into, whether it's through ecstatic dance, or it's through partnership and it's pleasure, or it's self and it's pleasure. It doesn't really matter. But all of these key aspects of being alive are really what you're talking about, being just human, of applying the grace of humanity to ourselves and allowing ourselves the freedom and permission to go out there and experience a life like no other. Why? Simply because we can bless people with heart prints along the way. Pretty much. Because that's really all we're doing. We're leaving heart prints on the planet and reminding people of, God darn it, you're like seriously like worth it, right? Yeah, I don't feel that way.
Heart prints. That's beautiful. I like that, Debbie. Heart
Thanks.
prints. Wow.
Yeah, heart print.
There was a lady, she was an elder, and I got the opportunity to drive her to me detoxes to speak on panels for people. And
Nice.
we were in Vegas at the time, and her name was Boston Joey. And she used to say always after she would share, grateful hearts go to meetings. And I remember when she passed, she had hundreds of people there for her, and she left a recording because she knew she was going to pass, and it was really beautiful. And in honor of her legacy, I started a book study that was like called the Grateful Hearts Meeting. And I just remembered feeling like when I die, I hope that I also am received beautifully like that, and held some aspects of what I did. I was grieving so hard. That was the first time I grieved like that. I just didn't even realize just how close I had connected and how much I really loved her. And it's interesting, like how her kindness and her just sharing about her life on the rides to the detoxes and stuff touched my life and made an imprint, and impacted me such that I wanted to leave, do something in honor of her. Like that speaks to me. And I was inspired by her tremendously. I will say that. I mean, I was inspired. I've been inspired by a lot of people. I'm inspired all the time, but that's, and I just, it's nice when we can
you are
can
kind of
things remotely like that.
You're kind of where you are. I mean, I was just gonna say, like, you are doing that already. That's the thing. Everything that we see within another is within us, because there's no point of reference otherwise. If you don't have a point of reference, you're not going to see it. Perspective is, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So that means you might want to make a different decision. And if you're not making a different decision, then shame on you, period. And Michele, the thing, when you embody every piece of that heart print and you leave that legacy, but that's already what you've been doing. That's already what's happening. That's already from all of the thank you letters that you get, and from all of the people who celebrate just the fact that you show up. And every time you go out somewhere, you're leaving a heart print and a legacy. And we all hope that we leave these heart prints behind, but there's more to it than that. It's about showing each other how to show up for humanity. And as women in particular, it's very important that you ladies start pulling your heads out of your ass and realize that you need to be supporting each other and not staring at somebody else and saying, well, why, how come they have that? Why do they look like that? Why? Because the fact of the matter is, you would be doing that if your ass wasn't too busy complaining about looking at somebody else doing that. So, well, it's the truth. We sit around as ladies and women, and it has become so imperative now that we start holding each other to a higher standard. We raise our standards.
And how do we do that? We be that. We lead by example. That's the best teacher. I'm telling you, hands down, in my life experience. I'm 56. I will tell you this. I really do learn most by example. So I try to be around examples that lift me, that, and be that too. So it's, it's a balance. And, you
And
know,
that was what was her name?
I acknowledge people for doing the best they
Yeah.
can with where they're at, and there's always room to grow. That
Oh,
there's
I love
always
that.
more room to grow.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah, we're
not
never done.
really shame. I don't shame on anybody. There's no shame in the game for me, because that's the most painful emotion the human condition can experience. And so
Right.
if I can eradicate that in any way and just say, there, look, there's acceptance. Here's where we are. Now, how can we move forward? And that's just the way out.
That's
That's
so
the
good.
way for growth as far as I see it. It's real simple. It isn't, you know, like it doesn't take rocket science, but it is something that we constantly need to remind ourselves. Like you were saying, you know, oh, you know, Michelle, you're so this way. And it's like, oh, that feels so nice when you say that. But like, I don't always feel that way myself. And I know that I always get to remind myself that I want to be the best version of myself and be the most useful and the way that I operate, what I do, and what I, you know, best version, and learn from my mistakes too. And not, when my clients see me acknowledge my mistakes and I talk to them about, you know, oh, here's what I might like to do better. That is also, you know, a good way to teach, you know, is, you know, because it really is progress in life and not perfection. And you know, if everything is perfect all the time, it'd just be like, it wouldn't be real, because I'm not stretching myself. The more I stretch myself, I will perhaps fall, but I will get back up and I will trudge forward, because this is how I grow. This is how we grow. It is a we thing, you know.
There's a
And
way.
so just touching on that, because I think it's really important never to shame ourselves, but to just acknowledge, okay, so, well, you know, again, and I liked that you talked about somatic. You know, what can I do to feel where in my body, where is this, where do I feel this in my body right now? When did I track it maybe? When did I feel this before? Identify it, be with it, apply compassionate self-forgiveness. You know, I'm doing the best I can with where I'm at, um, you know, just really emanating compassionate self-forgiveness into that inner child or into your being, however you want to see about it, visualize it, visualize your own hands emanating white light
Yes.
healing onto you. It's so empowering to know that you can be your own healer in this way. And then just really identifying the things that hurt, right? And bringing that again, healing into your being, and visualize and be with it. And then just really acknowledging you're doing the best you can with where you're at.
Mm, mm-hmm.
In the doing of that
That was
though,
so good.
not getting caught up that then that's all that we can do, because there's always more.
Mm.
The gurus have gurus, Debbie.
The gurus have gurus.
Everybody has someone, you know, that they can,
All
my
do.
friend had me do an iPodcast show for a while. I was doing, and it's still on my channel, but it's called Guru Garcia. And I would never call myself a guru. He deemed me that. And I just thought it was cute and catchy. But, you know, we're all have the capacity to be the guru, to be the teacher, to be the guide, you know, and to allow, you know, the best parenting, the best, you know, advocating comes from just guiding people. Again, that, you know, Eastern philosopher, what's his name? Alil Gabriel, the prophet, one of my favorite poetic books to read. I had a sponsor literally had me meditate on each of the readings. It's so infused with healthy detachment. It's
Mm.
really, because, you know, attachment is what creates suffering. We don't want to suffer, you know, so this is like capacity to be, you know, in the flow and not attached. Anything I hold on too much to, be it a person, be it a place, be it a thing, be it a goal. Like I think I have to do that to attain happiness. It's not so, you know, we could shoot for it, but the results ultimately are in God's hands. And I can trust that the outcome is going to be in the highest good for me. Doesn't mean, like, I love the idea that we're not to be in pity. We're the producers of our movie. Like, you get to create that. You can, if, why would I want to be sad? Let me produce something that brings me joy. You know, that's what God gave us. God gave us that much, you know, the capacity to do all that. And so the more,
Right? Yeah.
the more tools I can gain and practice with others and
Yeah.
share with others, the better off we are at producing the life beyond our wildest dreams. Spirituality gone wild. I love it.
Spirituality has gone
Cool name.
wild. Well, you know, spirituality, I remember the first time that ever came out of my mouth, I was simply talking about the fact that spirituality had gone wild. That like, what the hey, like But now it's like, yeah, it has gone wild, and now it's time to have a playground. And so here we are in this playground of life. Your attachment styles. So we're going to have Michele back because we need to really take a deep dive into attachment style. If you all don't know your attachment style, go to 123test.com. It's free. Learn what your attachment style is, because this is going to be how you connect in relationship. This is all things, how that you
Like, it
connect
helps
to
you
things you hold on
identify, is
to.
that what you're saying? It helps you identify
Absolutely.
your patterns so that you could notice and then
And then
shift.
work on those pieces. Exactly. And it's free. 123test.com. Go take a personality test. Go really take a deep dive into yourself and do some research, people, to see who you are, not who the hell somebody else said, hey, you need to be this, because that's not working for you, obviously, if you're not loving it. If you're not loving it, then you're doing it not the wrong way. You just need to maybe think about doing it a different way. But like Michele said,
Change.
she said, gurus have gurus. You said, thank you, Facebook user 123 test. I think it's test with an S. I'll look it up right now. So you said gurus need gurus. I absolutely agree. I am constantly, because this work's never done. We're constantly working on our stuff. Trauma is not a good enough reason to stay in your shit. So stop, or I'm going to call you a freaking ambulance with a giant butt hurt pad for your butt hurt ass to sit on. Stop wasting your life not being the best human you could be, and expansively. Michele,
You are reminding me of
I
Collie
swear.
right now, like just waving the axe, like, wow, the ego. We're gonna cut it off
That's
so that
just
we can receive the blessings at the other hand, right?
Well, you know
So
what?
no room for self-pity, right?
No room for self. Well, what the hell? I spent enough time in self pity and damaged my entire beingness with that bullshit. I literally said, look at what's happening to me. Please, really? You mean look what I created and look what I'm allowing? And
It's responsible.
it's authentic, like that authentic ownership of. But if I'm not loving it, what is my preference? What is the desire? So if you're just now joining us, go back to the beginning. Michele talks about goal setting and how that looks. Please go back and take a look at the different things that she's offering, the meditations, the fact that, you can tune into Cielo Sober Living anytime on Thursdays and watch a meditation. It starts at 6 p.m. Pacific time. You really need to start taking some actionable steps to create the life you want, instead of complaining about the life you don't want, because that just literally makes you sound like a whiner, and I will call a ambulance.
So you know what, you just inspired me to extend that my conscious recovery meeting be
Yes.
zoomed. So I'm going to offer a Zoom. I have Zoom number for people to dial in and with no cost join in for the conscious recovery meetings. You can buy the books through me. There's a workbook, there's a journal, and there's a book, but you don't need that at first. You just can come in and listen, because wow, as you know, Debbie, like his TJ Woodward put together a really cool program that enhances, our lives, because it works really on in such a beautiful, eloquent way. It works on the trauma of all the aspects of your trauma, be it emotional, mental, spiritual, all the areas. And it, we just take a little bit every week and work on that. Because if you try to do everything all at once, it's overwhelming. And then maybe just hearing other people's shares will help you identify what's going on, or what went on for you that you might want to see in a new light, and grow and learn from. Because honestly, all my most difficult adversities have been my greatest teachers for life. They have allowed me to just launch into whole new directions with way more capacity to be in my loving than I started with. So that's exciting. And also there's like this awareness that like there isn't a lot we can't get through. Like it really, it gives you the confidence and the trust and reliance that we can if we want, we can work through anything, and that there isn't anything we can't handle with God.
There's
Like God's
nothing
not going to give us more than we can handle. I really get that. I get that today. And I have to remind myself. And then when I get upset, prayer is such a great way to, overcome these fears that come up. And
I love all of this. So I'm curious, Michelle. God, I love this. You're going to do
You got me
conscious
going. I'm
recovery.
sorry. So
You got
psyched to
you.
be alive.
You guys, do y'all hear her? Like, did you just want to? I know y'all want to wrap her in a big old giant hug with me right now because, like, she's just warm. She's just warm and beautiful, and I love that. And I love that you're going to do consciousrecovery.com, everybody, or you can go to
Yes.
Wholehearted. You can go over to wholehearted.org as well.
Yes.
But you want to look at tjwoodward.com and really take a deep dive into his teachings. Michelle, this is literally the most exciting thing ever. So Conscious Recovery Online with Michele Garcia at Cielo Sober Living. She is it possible for people to join your email list and then get that link by email, or are we going to put it right here into this chat?
Can you type it in to the chat? Sure. We'll type it in. I am a conscious recovery facilitator. So when we do the meetings, and if you have a center or a home that you want to learn to be a facilitator at, TJ even has trainings,
I'm coming up on that. Yep.
You can be, a certified facilitator. That's right. Congratulations on that. I
haven't joined yet. Wait, TJ knows. TJ knows that that's on my curriculum list. So I'm just finishing up with the university first, and then. But there's something that you are an example of, and that is the continual research, the continual look for how can I do this better? How can I use this opportunity? How can I not be in my pity party? Because the fact is, we all get into a pity party, but it's how long are we staying there? And you said something else.
Value, right? We want to add value to our lives and the lives of the lives we touch.
Oh,
the community that I, have here at Cielo Sober Living, the community that I create with the spiritual retreat, Cielo Spiritual Foundation.
Yes.
And anything, and my family, I get to see them this weekend. I'm so excited to share my the 1-year birthday of my cousin's baby. I love that. Gorgeous. And I got to see my nieces 3 and 2. And my niece Lux is turning 5, and just share with my dad and my stepmom and my brother and his wife and the kids. And family is so vital. It's like, to have healthy relationships with our family, like, we can today, or I can today, and show up for people and try to be a good example and love on those kids. They're the future of tomorrow. I mean, it's just such a gift. Can't begin to tell you.
There's so much you've unpacked today, and we're coming to the close of the show. Okay. But before that, we're going to also, there will be replays, and y'all just please continue to type your questions into the chat. I'm going to bring Michelle back because we're going to get deeper into attachment styles, deeper into the heart prints that we're leaving on the planet, as well as all the practices and things that you can really dig into, including conscious recovery. You guys have seen TJ on Spirituality Gone Wild. More times than we can count. He truly did bring forward an amazing modality. You know what's cool, Michelle? Is that okay? So I met you through Josie, but then I met TJ through another friend of mine, and then we find out that we're all connected. I want you all to hear that.
Yeah,
okay?
That happens a lot.
It's so cool. It's like the awesomest thing ever. Or
Josie is so random too, because Josie literally, she's just like been such a spearhead of light beam and help for me. When I first opened a sober house in Malibu, she came into my home and she was so, I guess, approving and in alignment with everything I created there, that she lately told like a very complex treatment center up the way from mine. With Serenity Malibu, there was Milestones, which dealt with like mental health, and they thought they couldn't send me one until I was a year open, but she assured them that what I had put together was solid and that they would do well. And as a result, I got to start codependent recovery meetings, because that was what was helpful for that demographic in my home. Because I meet people where they're at, like, okay, so this is what I'm helping, how can I best serve them? So that was so instrumental to my next level of growth. Like, I feel like that recovery was just so deep. It really gets in there, and So I can't thank her enough for the introductions and the confidence in my work and the trust in my work that she's had.
Yeah.
My clients still go to her still today, like what, decades later?
Well, let me tell
Decades
everybody.
later, I meet,
Decades
she's in
later,
the desert, and like my clients are going to her outpatient now. She has an outpatient. I mean, just like it's so cool. She's like literally like, I feel like she's the god fairy of the treatment and behavioral health industry, really. And there
we're
we go.
talking.
Look at
There we
her
go.
event. I'll be
So
there.
Michelle will be here, and what I wanted to talk about this because Gina Tabrizi, we're going to be celebrating
Oh,
Gina
love her.
Tabrizi, who is absolutely gorgeous and amazing. I'm going to pop this up. You can
She is.
pause. Y'all feel free to pause this right here for Advanced Therapeutic Services for Gina Tabrizi for Cielo soberliving.com. I'm going to tell you that truly the magnificence of how we are all connected. It brings almost gratitude tears because, and we love Gina so much.
Love Gina. My gosh,
Love
what
Gina.
a spiritual warrior.
We love
I
her so much.
honor her, and that way she speaks, you guys,
Please
she's
come.
so empowered. She's Cubana like me.
Oh
She's a
God.
powerhouse.
She is a
And
powerhouse.
and she just beat cancer. I mean, she just continues to
She
lay
just
it out.
continues.
There is nothing we can't do. Like
Nothing we
unstoppable.
can't do.
Unstoppable.
And we're going to be celebrating her on December 13th. And we're going to be celebrating Michelle and everybody else. And there's another new person, Sonny Von Cleveland. Did I say that right? It's Sonny Von
Yes.
Cleveland. And Michele Garcia and others are
I'm
going to be.
so
We
thankful
are.
to get to work with him. He's
Okay.
another light beam, whole nother genre of like amazingness.
I
Like
am
this
so.
work he does. Wow.
So
And
Michelle
I'm
sends me. I know.
excited. He
So
took
excited.
photos and video of my work here, and I can't wait to share it with the
Oh.
world because his magic that he integrates with all he does is another next level. I'm honored to know him, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
We of course you knew him. You were gonna have him on your show. Small world.
Just
Like attracts like.
yeah.
I'm telling you guys, like attracts like. Notice.
Can you just stop and notice? So that's going to be what we're going to leave you with today is to stop and notice and go back and watch the entire episode. There's so many great, entirely juicy pieces of how to really embrace your humanness. You are worthy of it, deserving of it. You are a sexy, powerful, gorgeous human being who deserves to seriously embrace all aspects of what it is to be human. So thank you all today for joining us on this very dynamic episode, the upgraded 2.0 version of Cuppa Grata. Gratitude EQ, that is EQ for emotional intelligence, and it is the playground. We're going to be having all types of shows coming in this playground. We have all types of hosts that are going to be coming in and doing their sandbox, their playground, and bringing you their toys. Michelle brought us a whole bunch of toys today, a bunch of good stuff to play. We've got so many good things to play with today. Woo, we love you. I love you, baby. So peace, everybody. We absolutely adore you, and we love you. We will see you again